What happens to a religious organization when it chooses pride, rigidity, and denial over protecting its followers? While other denominations have faced the problems head-on, the Catholics, the Anglicans, the Mormons, the Jehovah's Witnesses have continued to deny the challenges that they are facing within their ranks. Unlike other groups, the Jehovah's Witnesses' downfall is not just about abuse concerning children, but their unwillingness to evolve and actually address the dark secrets within the organization. This is the shocking truth about the Jehovah's Witnesses' decline. Today we dive into a number of issues, events, stories, scandals, decisions, and controversies within the Jehovah's Witnesses that have affected them adversely and contributed to their decline. They were known as the fastest growing religious organization in the past, but now their decline is very, very certain. And why their rigid practices and failure to protect the victims led to more harm than the external scandal. Stick with me to the end and you'll understand the real reasons behind the Jehovah's Witnesses' collapse. The Jehovah's Witnesses movement was founded in the 1870s by Charles Tazo Russo, initially called Bible students. The group soon adopted the name Jehovah's Witnesses in 1931. What made the group stand out was its strict biblical interpretation and refusal to participate in mainstream society, particularly in practices like voting or military service. The movement flourished globally by promoting their own version of Christianity, emphasizing door-to-door preaching and the imminent end of the world. They set themselves apart. They looked holy on the outside. They claimed to adhere to the biblical principles and followed the Bible. They claimed they were the only ones who were preaching the Bible and moving door to door. And they claimed that the end was going to come as soon as the preaching of the word spreads throughout the world. At their peak, Jehovah's Witnesses had an estimated 8.7 million members worldwide, and they prided themselves on living a strict, disciplined lifestyle. But as the society changed, the movement's refusal to adapt and address growing controversies set the stage for their downfall. So basically, society has changed. A number of things have changed. The way we interact has changed. The way we witness, the way we evangelize has changed. And yet Jehovah's Witnesses have stuck to the traditional methods of evangelism. Let's look at key events leading to their downfall. While the organization's rise was fueled by their certainty and clear doctrinal stance, cracks began to show in the early 2000s. The first event that exposed their failure to adapt was a failure to adapt in handling child sexual abuse scandals.
Half a world away, Jehovah's Witnesses are also coming under legal scrutiny in the United Kingdom.
Do you believe that the Jehovah's Witnesses have a policy that purposefully protects pedophiles and puts children at risk?
I do. I would describe it as a scandal and a global cover-up and a protection of abusers.
At the risk of children?
Absolutely.
Unlike the Catholic Church, which also faced widespread CSA scandals, Jehovah's Witnesses' approach to handling such issues was particularly damaging. The group operated under the policy known as the two-witness rule. This meant that for any allegation of abuse to be valid, there had to be two witnesses to the event. If no second witness could be found, the accused could not be disfellowshipped or even reported to authorities. Let's listen to this clip about their insistence not to change the two-witness rule.
On the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses, every matter may be established. So Christ Jesus establishes the fact that there has to be 2 witnesses. Now, it doesn't mean that if there's only one witness, that there's no consequences. There might be, depending upon the situation. But the scriptures are very clear. Before a judicial committee can be convened, there has to be a confession or 2 witnesses. So we will never change our scriptural position on that subject.
If you're enjoying this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and smash that notice bell so that every time I upload a new video, you will be notified. Because of this, the organization ended up protecting abusers instead of protecting the abused. The problem is that they've refused to actually accept that they have a problem in their midst. I know the reason. The reason is that they've prided themselves to be better than any other Christian denomination. They preached a holier-than-thou message. They claimed moral superiority over other Christian denominations, knowing very well that there was a serious problem within the organization. They knew about it, but they kept it secret to be able to keep the image that they want to protect so much, because Jehovah's Witnesses are more focused on the image. Jehovah's Witnesses are more focused on image protection than actually protecting the welfare of their most vulnerable members of the organization. And these are children and the women. So when scandals broke in the early 2000s, instead of them facing the problem squarely, as the Catholics did, and the others, the Mormons and the Anglicans did, Jehovah's Witnesses decided to hide their head in the sand, refusing to acknowledge that they have a serious problem. And how did they handle the problem? They insisted on using the two-witness rule. Unless an abused child had a second witness, the matter was left in Jehovah's hands.
A 10-year-old girl in a room full of men.
What did they specifically ask you about the sexual abuse?
I remember the elders actually asked me, do you know if there's 2 other witnesses involved to this? And I said no. And they said, well, nothing we can do, leave it in Jehovah's hands.
This is what has caused the downfall of the Jehovah's Witnesses. It's not necessarily the scandals. It is the response to these scandals. It is because of pride, rigidity, and arrogance. The issue of CSA was just the beginning. As we dive into the controversies of the Jehovah's Witnesses, you will know that there were more issues actually within the sect that many of us who are not Jehovah's Witnesses did not know about. Remember that this is an exclusive, seclusive sect or society. So what was going on inside was kept inside. We might even say what happens in JW remains in JW, or what happens in the Watchtower society remains within the Watchtower society. As we dive deeper in more deeper controversies that have been damaging to the Jehovah's Witnesses, we come to another critical issue that has brought the Jehovah's Witnesses down, and that is shunning. No major internal issue that has contributed to the downfall of Jehovah's Witnesses as shunning has done. This is the most damaging and heartbreaking practice of the Jehovah's Witness. In the first place, what is shunning? Shunning is the practice of ostracizing members who leave or are expelled from the faith. Individuals who are disfellowshipped for whatever reason are shunned by their families and communities. This policy has torn apart families and left many ex-members emotionally and psychologically devastated. People are more able to be drawn by the love than by pain, by being isolated, by punishment. Here's what one member said. So this member says when he was disfellowshipped, he lost everything. His family and friends turned against him. And he says it almost destroyed his life. Now, it's important to note that the destructive power of shunning cannot be underestimated. This is not just about a religious disagreement. It is a calculated method. It is a calculated system that punishes individuals for questioning or leaving the organization. And in many cases, families were torn apart. Loved ones were cut off from their social network with no opportunity for reconciliation. Jehovah's Witnesses say shunning is an act of love. And they give you examples of people who were shunned for 10 years and they were reconciled back to the faith. And how that had it not been for shunning, they would not have come back to Jehovah.
Our loyalty is on the line, not to the disfellowship person, but to God. who is watching to see whether we will abide by his command not to have contact with those who are disfellowshipped. Some of Jehovah's people may think this is too drastic, and that their keeping in contact with a disfellowshipped friend or relative is a kindness. But they could not be more wrong about that. You see, it may salve their own feelings, but they would be doing the worst possible thing for the disfellowshipped person. We can share with you many fine examples of the good that has resulted when a family firmly and loyally upholds Jehovah's decree not to associate with disfellowshipped ones. One father said that when his son began behaving in a way that was unacceptable, his lifestyle had put up a barrier between them. Now note, the father recognized it was his son who had created the barrier, not Jehovah. After some 10 years, the young man cleaned up his life and returned to the congregation, and he admitted, being disfellowshipped brought me face to face with the consequences of my lifestyle. I needed that sort of discipline.
If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and smash that notice bell so that every time I upload a new video, you will be notified. If you have any questions, you are seeking clarifications, please don't forget to put them in the comment section below. A woman who is above 60 commented on one of my videos that she's been shunned for over 50 years. Just imagine, cut off from her family members for over 50 years. And you call yourselves as Christians, the one who obeys Jehovah? Not really. Let's look at the impact of the media. The downfall of Jehovah's Witnesses was actually accelerated in the social media era with platforms like YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, TikTok. Former members began to share their stories. Like I mentioned, many of us who are not Jehovah's Witnesses, who have never been Jehovah's Witnesses, did not know much about this organization. But as former members, shunned members, began to speak up, began to tell their horrors and their stories, people began to know just how cruel the Jehovah's Witnesses organization is. And as a result of this, the one-state control began to crumble. In fact, one of the key turning points in this decline was the viral nature of the testimonies. For example, in 2016, a video by former Jehovah's Witness, Peter Gregerson, titled "I Was a Jehovah's Witness," quickly went viral, gathering millions of views. In this video, Gregerson exposed the harm caused by two-witness rule and the organization's refusal to address CSA allegations. Social media has provided former members a global audience. No matter how Jehovah's Witnesses has commanded and instructed its members not to go to social media, many members, out of curiosity or for whatever reason, maybe trying to challenge what the former members have said, have also turned to social media to watch. They actually watch these videos, they comment on videos like mine. Social media has provided a platform for former members to reach a global audience, while also shining a light on the practices of the organization. As these stories spread, more and more people began questioning the legitimacy of the group. What lesson can we learn from the downfall of the Jehovah's Witness? The organization's refusal to adapt and their rigidity to cling to harmful practices has led to their downfall. It is actually pride and arrogance has led to the Jehovah's Witnesses' downfall. When a religious organization operates under pride, secrecy, and denial, it is a matter of time before cracks begin to show. Jehovah's Witnesses' downfall highlights a critical lesson of any organization. Failure to protect the vulnerable, stubborn adherence to outdated policies, and a lack of accountability can destroy even the most powerful movements. The secrets surrounding abuse, the denial of medical care, and the devastating effects of shunning were all contributing factors. Let's listen to what William H. Bowen, the founder of Silent Lambs, says about 3 factors that actually contribute to harm in any institution.
With recent reports of Catholics, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, and other groups, it appears that bad institutional policy has allowed many children to be hurt. What makes bad policy? 3 basic areas are identified in this material. Number 1, internal institutional investigation of the crime of rape by untrained personnel. What happens when these things are practiced? Bad practice hurts children. Number 2, invoking God or institutional reputation as something to protect by not reporting the abuse to proper authorities. And number 3, internal confidential records that clearly identify child abusers not turned over to proper authorities for prosecution.
If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and smash that notice bell so that every time I upload a new video, you will be notified. If you have any questions, you are seeking clarifications, please don't forget to put them in the comment section below. If you totally disagree with what I've said, you are also welcome to put your comments in the comment section below. For other videos on shunning, click on this link. And for other videos on the downfall of the Jehovah's Witnesses, click on this playlist.